Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to a new episode of your weekly program here on Nile TV International. This is The Ambassador and I'm your host for tonight, Nancy Sarah Barakat. Today I have the honour of sitting down with the Ambassador of Mauritius to Egypt, His Excellency Dr. Abdul Anif Surifan. Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Let me start off by asking you the traditional questions that we ask here on the program. And how did you start your career as a diplomat?
Well, before I answer your question, allow me to welcome you to the Mauritian Embassy in Egypt and to wish your viewers a good evening. Well, I am basically a doctor. I am a cardiac surgeon, in fact.
Right.
I've been doing cardiac surgery for the last 30 years. And then last year, Government of Mauritius decided that I should come as ambassador to Egypt.
Right.
Of course, I did not refuse. Well, it started very well because the people here in Egypt are very welcoming, very hospitable, and they made my life quite easy. So it's going all right. It's going all right.
It's only been 9 months, I understand, that you've been here in Egypt. But before we get to that, what happened? I mean, how did you shift from being a surgeon? How were you chosen into the field of diplomacy after being a surgeon for some 30 years, you say?
Well, you know, I joined politics about 10 years ago.
Right.
I was reaching the end of my career in cardiac surgery. So I was in politics for the last 10 years, and this is how, you know, I came to join diplomacy.
Right.
And government decided to send me here, as I already said, and I said, okay, I'll try it.
What do you think are the advantages of being a diplomat so far?
Well, I find it is a different world, of course, from medicine. It's, you know, gives you the opportunity to meet people from different countries and to play a part in the well-being of your own people and the people in other countries. I think I find it very interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
And let me ask you also about, I mean, obviously you're still very new to this field, but I'm wondering what you think are perhaps the biggest challenges in this line of work.
Well, basically diplomacy is about establishing a good relationship between countries, neighboring countries and other countries. Diplomacy requires a lot of patience. Things sometimes takes time to happen, but we focus on the well-being of our people, the mutual cooperation, and look for areas of cooperation that can benefit our countries. I think this is what we're hoping to do.
What does it feel like, Your Excellency, to be away from home for the first time?
Well, I have been away from home for quite a while. You know, when I left Mauritius to go to England to study medicine, I stayed in England for about 16 years.
Okay.
And then I went back to Mauritius, stayed there for 2 years, and then went to Saudi Arabia. I worked in Saudi Arabia for 7 years. So I have been away from home for quite a while. Yeah.
Right.
So it doesn't make any difference for me. Besides, Egypt is a very nice country. As I said, you are very nice people, very hospitable. So I feel at home here.
Thank you. We're glad that we've made you feel that way. How's your Arabic then? You've been in Saudi Arabia, you've been in Egypt. How's it?
Well, I noticed that Saudi Arabic and Egyptian Arabic are a bit different.
Right.
But, you know, my Arabic is picking up.
Right.
I'm making a point of learning Arabic. I bought some books and some dictionaries. So I am studying. If necessary, I'll take some private tuition.
Right.
But it is my aim when I live here to speak fluent Arabic, sufficiently fluent to get a job in Nile TV, perhaps.
Your Excellency, I wanted to ask you a little bit about the unique role that diplomacy plays in facing or in confronting the myriad of challenges in the global arena today. What can you tell us about that?
Well, there is no other way. You know, we have a lot of challenges. from global warming to conflicts here and there, to poverty, to management of water resources, a lot of challenges, and I see no other way of dealing with these problems than through diplomacy.
Right.
Establishing good relationship with other countries, building bridges and not building walls, because it's in the interest of everybody to tackle these problems of water shortage in the world, climate change, poverty, unemployment, diseases. This is a global issues. So I think we have to get together to fight these problems.
If I were to ask you perhaps what you think is the biggest challenge facing the world today, what would you tell me?
Well, I think climate change.
Right.
I think climate change is probably the biggest issue facing us today and our children.
Right.
So I think we are already lagging behind.
Right.
And we should start doing something about it.
Right. What do you think why do you think rather the world isn't paying that much attention to this perhaps catastrophic sort of phenomenon that could lead to huge complications, perhaps at some points irreparable?
Well, global change, global warming, these issues of climate change and so on, scientists have been warning us since the 70s. I remember I was in England, I was a student, and people have been talking about it, scientists have been talking about it since the 70s. But for some reason we have not paid attention to them.
Right.
And I think it's because perhaps a bit of selfishness from here and there. People, looking after their own business, minding their own things. But I think time has come. Now people realize that we are lagging behind. We are seeing the effect of climate change, weather changes, unusual things happening as far as weather is concerned. And I think now people realize that we have to do something.
Right.
So we are talking about it, but now it's time to take action.
Right. Coming back to living here in Egypt, as you said, you've only been here for 9 months. How are you finding it so far, and how have you and perhaps also your family acquainted yourselves with living in Cairo?
Well, it has not been difficult, really. I came here for the first day, I felt at home, and as I said, this is largely because you are very nice people, very hospitable, very helpful. Well, I don't know how the summer is going to be, but I have faced this kind of summer when I was in Saudi Arabia.
Right.
So we'll face it, and Ramadan is coming, and I am told Ramadan is very pleasant here.
Yes,
so I'm looking forward to that also. I am here with my wife. She's a dentist, but she's also liking it.
Right.
She's enjoying it. Yeah.
Since Your Excellency mentions Ramadan, do you mark the holy month, celebrate the holy month? Is it big in Mauritius?
No, in Mauritius it's quite different.
Right.
It's quite different. We fast, but people go to work, and it's not like it was in Saudi Arabia. And I am told it's going to be even better in Egypt.
Right.
So I am looking forward to it.
Definitely, the atmosphere here is very festive during the holy month.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you've had a chance, since you've been here, to travel around the country and where you've been to.
Well, of course, I have visited the pyramids of Giza. This is the first thing you do when you come to Egypt. I have been to Alexandria, which is a very nice place. It looks a bit like Mauritius.
Right.
There's greens everywhere, and the weather is very nice, and you have beautiful beaches there. I have been along the Nile in the boats and so on.
Right.
But there's still a lot of places to see. I have visited Masjid al-Hussein, Zainab, Nafisa, Muhammad Ali Palace.
Right.
This is a place I have been to with all the histories attached to it. It's very, very interesting.
Right, and where else do you plan to go around?
Well, this year I wanted to go to Luxor and Aswan, but I missed it. I could not go for other reasons. So this is a place where I would like to go.
Right.
Yeah.
Your Excellency mentioned that you felt at home when you came here to Cairo, and I'm wondering what are the similarities perhaps between life here and life back home in Mauritius?
Well, I think, life anywhere in the world is there's a lot of things in common. People having the same objectives in life. They go to work and feed their family and look after their family and so on. So this is, this is how we are connected.
Right.
But of course, you have your things which are specific to you, especially along the River Niles. When you go on the boats, the dancing, the tanura, which I like very much.
Yeah.
This is really, I enjoyed it very much, you see. And you are very rich, you have a very rich culture, very rich culture. And well, I try to make the most of it and take advantage of all the good things you have in Egypt.
That's very nice to hear.
Yeah.
When you're not busy, Your Excellency, with work, what do you like to do during your free time?
Well, I like reading.
Right.
Serious reading. This is what I do. I spend a lot of time on the iPad trying to find out about Egypt, you see, about all those nice places you have.
Right.
The historical background. Before I go to visit a place, I read about it to know all the history behind it, and that makes it more interesting.
Change, maybe I understand. Maybe I couldn't change, maybe I understand now. better. Day to day, I can remember the time that we were ready to die. My bed always with me. Come on, please, come on my way. I will show you something. Lady, come on and kiss me, but tell me you need.
Let me turn to bilateral relations, if you will, and let's talk a little bit about how bilateral relations began between Egypt and Mauritius.
Well, bilateral relation between Mauritius and Egypt started a long time ago, in the 1975. Our Prime Minister then, Sir Ramgoolam, decided, that a country like Egypt, with all the importance you have in the Middle East and in Africa, we should have good relations with you. But not only with Egypt, but with other African countries also. This is, our forefathers in their wisdom decided to build bridges with our surrounding countries. So this is how it started.
Right.
And from then, it has grown bigger and bigger and stronger.
And where do relations stand today?
Well, we have very sound relationship with Egypt. We have bilateral exchanges. Your country has been very helpful to us in the field of education, in medicine, in culture, in commerce. So this relationship has been of benefit to us.
Right. Yeah. Both countries are members of the African Union, members of the COMESA. How have these organizations helped strengthen ties between us?
Well, in Africa, you have the African Union, you have COMESA, you have SADC. We are a member of SADC, of COMESA, African Union. You are also. And I think now what's happening, what I've noticed, is that your government, your President, His Excellency Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, is trying to connect to the rest of Africa and to engage with the rest of Africa. I think this is very welcome by African countries. And I have noticed that the last 8 months or 9 months that I have been here, that you are making a lot of effort, considerable amount of effort to connect with Africa, to engage with Africa, which we welcome. I think this is very good.
And how will that have mutual benefit for both sides?
Well, mutual benefits at different levels. You see, as I said, you have helped us concerning education, in medicine. There was a team from here who went to Mauritius to do some cardiac surgery in Mauritius. So that's one way of helping. Now, we are a small country compared to you. Our population is 1.3 million. Yours is about 95 million. So Mauritius is like a street in Cairo. But we export to you some goods, fruits and sugars and so on. We import from you, again, fruits, building materials, and so on. So I am sure this is happening with other African countries also.
Right.
All right, and I think there should be more commerce between African countries, even exchanges in education, exchanges in medicine, knowledge, exchange in IT, ICT, and so on. I think there's room for a lot of cooperation.
I've read a little bit about the Egyptian Fund for Technical Cooperation with Africa, which is, I believe, a cornerstone of Egyptian cooperation with Mauritius. Could you tell us a little bit more about this fund?
Well, what I can tell you about it is, again, see, this comes in the context of this engagement that your country is taking vis-a-vis other African countries.
Right.
And as far as Mauritius is concerned, I don't think we have tapped on this fund yet.
Right.
But it is, again, comes in the context of your effort to help other African countries.
Right. And I'm wondering also about the Egyptian International Center for Agricultural Invites, which the Mauritian side tends to regular programs in various fields. It provides regular training programs. How successful have these programs been?
These programs provide exchanges between experts in your country and in our country. It takes a long time. These are slow processes, takes a long time, you have to give it its time. But it is, you see, the very idea is very welcoming. The very idea that there is this kind of cooperation,
Right.
which are required,
Right.
which are needed, you see. and the benefits will come. You will see the benefits in years to come.
Right. And I'm wondering a little bit about cooperation with Al-Azhar. Does anything exist on that level?
Oh yes, yes, for a long time. With Al-Azhar University, we have students going there for Islamic studies and for religious studies and for other studies also, not only for science and so on.
Right.
So there is a cooperation. I visited Al-Azhar University about a month ago. I met the dean of the faculty there, and he was saying, all right, send more students. All right, so we'll try. Yeah.
Good. Your Excellency, when was the last high-level visit between Cairo and Port Louis?
Between Cairo and Port Louis? Well, I have only been here for 8 months,
Right.
and during that 8 months, I think our Minister of Environment came to in the function on environment. We had about 2
Right.
weeks ago.
Right.
So I think he's the latest minister who came here.
Right. And do you expect any more, or are we arranging for any more high-level visits?
Well, I think you have been very, very kind. You see, you're always inviting Mauritius to high-level meetings in Egypt. You invited our president, Her Excellency Amina Garib Fakim, to attend a meeting, but I think she was taken up and she could not come this time.
Right.
But I am sure she will make a point of coming next time. Yeah.
Your Excellency mentioned that there was obviously clear areas of cooperation, but there were still more that could be done. What areas of cooperation do you think can still be tapped into?
Well, I think one area is environment.
Right.
This is very important to you and to us also. This is one area. Another area is education, concerning education. This is also very important. We are trying to increase the amount of commerce that there is between our two countries. There's also the question of water management, wastewater management. These are very important, and I believe you have some expertise in this domain. So these are some of the areas.
Right.
And for me, being a doctor, and I think I concentrate a bit on the education. I would like to see more Mauritian students coming here in different fields like medicine or ICT or engineering and
Right.
so on. So there are many areas where we can cooperate.
to move on to ask you or to speak a little bit about the foreign policy of Mauritius. What are its main features?
Well, as I said earlier, I think our aim is to build bridges with the surrounding countries. As I said, we are already part of SADC, of COMISA, of African Union, Indian Ocean Rim. We are part of the Commonwealth, part of La Francophonie. So it shows that we want to open up to other countries.
Right.
Because we believe, you see, we are a small island in the middle of the Indian Ocean, and we cannot exist by our own. We have to extend our hands to other people, and for bilateral cooperation. We can also help other countries in the field of democracy. We are a democratic country, well-established democracy. We have this political stability, social stability. Good governance is, main issue these days for us. So we can also be of some help to surrounding countries in these matters.
I also believe having a woman president is definitely a precedent in Africa. Tell me a little bit more about that and the empowerment of women in Mauritius.
Well, empowerment of women is very important, for a number of years. You see, now we have Amina Garib Fakim, Her Excellency the President, who is the first woman. He's the sixth President of the Republic, and we have a woman. She is a scientist by profession. She is world acclaimed in her field. Our Speaker of the National Assembly is also a woman. The Vice Chancellor of the University of Mauritius is also a woman. So we can say that gender equality is very important for us.
Right.
And we make every effort to make sure that there is parity, and make every effort to remove the disparity between men and women. Education is open to everybody, primary, secondary, tertiary education, open to girls and boys. Education is free from primary to tertiary level. And what we've found is girls usually do better in exams, the primary and secondary, even the tertiary, you see. And the question of salary in the government, whether you are man or woman, your salary will be the same if you do the same job.
Right.
So here we have made a lot of advances concerning gender equality.
Right.
Yeah.
Is this something that was always there, or is it something that you've had to work on?
No, it's not been always there. Maybe in the 50s and 60s things were different. But over the years we have deliberately and consciously made an effort to make sure that we efface the disparity that exists between boys and girls.
Right.
And I think we have benefited from this, because once you have women, you educate them and they start working, that contributes to the economic growth of the country.
Right.
You can't stand on just one leg. You have to stand on both legs.
Right. And what established, though, that realization of gender equality in society and its importance?
Well, it is, there is no debate about it. I think it's been proven, everywhere, that when woman gets a good education, first of all, and starts working, that's for the good of the country.
Right.
It helps the country. And it has even been shown that when woman is a chief executive of a company, the company does better.
Right.
You see, we have evidence for that also.
Right.
So I think there should be no barrier at all. I think, women should receive the same education like boys, and should receive the same jobs, should be able to do the same jobs as men, and should also get the same salary if they're doing the same job.
Right. Yeah. How do you think Mauritius, though, can export this knowledge to the rest of Africa?
Well, I think, through conferences, inviting people. We are open to everybody. People come and see our model, how we have done it, There's still work to be done. I'm not saying that, you know, we have done everything that needs to be done. There's a constant effort you have to make,
Right.
all the time, you see. But we have reached a long way. And I think we are open to other countries, African countries, if they want to come and see how we are doing, what we are doing. It's open to everybody. And then through international conferences, and then, you know, through publications,
Right.
and so on. Yeah.
Well, going back to foreign policy, I wanted to ask you about relations with the Middle East. How would you describe them?
Well, we have made an effort all the time. As I said, you know, we have good relationship with Egypt since 1975. We have good relationship with other countries in the Middle East because we think it's important to have established diplomatic relationship with this very important part of the world.
Right.
And we make every effort to have good relationship with Egypt, with Saudi Arabia, with United Arab Emirates, and other countries.
Right. How about relations with the West and with obviously Europe, the United States, etc.?
Well, we have excellent relationship with Europe, with UK, France, United States, you know, for a very, very long time. This is very important to us. We receive a lot of help from them also. Like myself, I am educated in England, you see. So, no, we have excellent relationship.
And when it comes to Asia?
Asia, we have good relationship with India
Right.
for a very long time because a lot of our population come from there, from
Yes.
India. We have very good relationship with China also, China and Thailand and Australia, New Zealand, all these places.
Right. Because obviously we'll get to that later on in the program.
Yeah.
You're a very diverse country and we'd like to touch a little bit more on that. Who would you say, Your Excellency, were the Mauritius's biggest allies in the world?
Well, you know, we have a lot of big allies.
Right. You won't name any names?
Well, I would not like to name any name, you know, but we have a lot of big allies, you know, whether it's in Europe, whether it's in the Middle East, whether it's in Asia, Oceania, we have good allies everywhere. And this is our main preoccupation,
Right.
to keep good relationship with everybody, in Africa also.
Right.
Yeah.
If we go back to bilateral relations and touch on a little bit about the economic side of things, economically, where do the relations stand?
For instance, we export. Our main country of export is the UK, France, Africa. And we import from countries like, you know, France, UK, and South Africa, and African countries, India, China, Australia.
Right.
So it's you know, it's not just one place; it's everywhere.
Right. And when it comes to Egyptian-Mauritian economic relations, what can you tell us about that?
Well, what I can say is that it is growing. It is growing.
Right.
You know, it is not at the point where I would like it to be, but we are working on it. I have visited some industries in Egypt in the 10th of Ramadan, and I see that there is interest among people, producers and manufacturers to have access to the Mauritian market. So we are working on it, and also people are interested to import from Mauritius. You know, we produce sugar.
Right.
We produce about 450,000 tons of sugar, plus about 125,000 tons of special sugar. So people have inquired about it, about sugar, about textiles, about apparel. So we are working on it.
Right.
Yeah.
So those are the main areas: apparels, textiles, sugarcane, and agriculture, as well as
That's right.
as I
yeah,
understand.
and fruits and so on. yeah.
Right. Are we looking at expanding the volume of trade between the two countries? Because as I know, it stands, imports stand at around 25%, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, of course, we're trying to. We know, as I said, you know, I have visited your industries, and I'm very impressed by the quality of goods that you produce. In terms of Ramadan and in other places, very, very impressed. You see, very high quality goods. But we are in Mauritius. We are interested in quality at affordable price.
Right.
So if it's too expensive, we won't be able to afford it.
Right.
You see. So I think there is a market for Mauritius in Egypt.
I understand that we already have more than 11 commercial agreements. How do we activate them, do you think?
Well, it requires a lot of willpower, you know, motivation, will, and we have to keep working and reviewing and focusing on this. It takes time, but it will happen.
When you say, obviously, you're looking at improving trade and so on and so forth, are we talking about the public or the private sector?
Both.
Right.
Both. Public and private.
Right, and how important would activating the private sector, the interest of the private sector, and vice versa in both countries in both ways, how would that promote economic, or to what extent would that promote economic?
Well, I think first of all, I think as far as Mauritius is concerned, you know, we tend to look at Egypt like a country that has the pyramids and the River Nile and Aswan and Luxor, and you know, as a touristic place, you see. But I think what I intend to do is to make people in Mauritius, especially the private sector, know more about Egypt, about all the good things that you produce, the various articles and building materials and so on. And also your agriculture, you see, you produce a lot of good quality fruits. I think people probably don't know much about these things, you see. So it is my job as ambassador to make sure that people in Mauritius know about these things. And we are working on it. We are working on it, yes.
Are you finding any obstacles facing doing business or facilitating business cooperation between both sides?
Not really, no. I think there is a willingness, as I said many times, you know, there's a willingness in your country at different levels, different ministries, and to open up to the rest of Africa. And I find no problems.
Your Excellency mentioned that a lot of people in Mauritius view Egypt as a tourist destination, and I'm wondering if there is any sort of cooperation in that particular area between both countries.
Well, there is. You see, Mauritians tend to go to Europe to spend their holidays, you see. And now some of them go to India. But I think you see, some come to Egypt also. But I would like to see more people come to Egypt because it's a very nice place. You know, a lot of things to see. The culture, you have a very rich culture. But as you know, there is no direct flight from Mauritius to Egypt, and I think that makes it a bit difficult. You have to go to other places to come here, you see. So we'll see. But we would like also to see more Egyptians go to Mauritius.
Definitely.
Already people, Egyptian, you know, go to spend their honeymoon there.
Yes.
But I would like to see some more businessmen going there. It's a nice place, it's a paradise, you see, and you go there for a couple of weeks and relax and enjoy yourself. So this also is...
During your tenure, do you hope to create a direct flights between Egypt, between Cairo and Port Louis?
Well, no, at the moment we are not talking about it, but we intend to have more flights from different countries coming to Mauritius, and I would like to see this happen, but we'll see. We'll see.
Well, obviously everybody knows about the beautiful island that is Mauritius, but again, it's nice to hear a little bit about how you see it as a local.
Well, Mauritius, you know, as you know, is a small island country in the middle of Indian Ocean, about 2,000 kilometers from the east coast of Africa. We have a tropical climate, beautiful beaches. Mauritius has the 10 most beautiful beaches in the world. It's a luxury tourist destination. We have beautiful hotels. well designed, well run. We have good infrastructure, and people who go there on holiday usually they like it very much.
Right.
The services of good quality. So it's really a little paradise in the corner of the Indian Ocean.
It's very interesting. You mentioned it is a luxury tourist destination.
Yeah.
How were you able to establish it as such and maintain that?
Well, I think this was the aim.
Right.
You see, this was the aim to have these five-star hotels. We have investment from people from abroad, invested in hotels, and from the start, already the environment was very suitable for this kind of hotels. To maintain, it starts with education.
Right.
In these fields, you have people, qualified people, experts who know how to manage, how to run. And then you have to train the staff.
Right.
This is very important, to train their staff and to make them reach a certain level, you see, which is acceptable. And to have regular training, regular assessment, regular review to see what's going on.
Right.
I think all these are very important.
And to what extent does the government invest in that, in terms of educating people in hospitality, in
Yeah.
tourism, that so on and so forth?
Well, we have a school.
Right.
We have set a school for training staff who need to work in hotel at different levels. A school was established some time ago. That's, you see, again, the vision of our forefathers. You see, they saw very the future. So I think these are the factors, you see. You have to have very good management, professionals on the one hand, and your staff has to be well trained, and regular assessment and review, and to update, to innovate, to improve. All these are very important.
Well, with that being said, what can you tell us about the status of the Mauritian economy?
Well, you're doing quite well. The economy is healthy, despite all the problems in the world. The financial crunch of 2008, we have been able to manage. We have kept a GDP rate of growth of about 3.4%. Now it's about 3.7%. So we have managed all right.
Right.
Yeah.
And what about your forecast for overall growth during the current fiscal year?
Well, we are aiming for a growth up to about 5.5%.
Right.
And we are investing in different fields to achieve that level of growth. We are aiming for 5.5%. We are expanding the economy. We are focusing quite a deal on the ocean economy. We are extending our seaport, expanding our seaport and all the facilities associated with the seaport. We are revamping our manufacturing capacity.
Right.
And we are paying more attention to ICT, to construction and development. So these are, the main features for the future.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's an end to the first segment of my sit-down with His Excellency the Ambassador of Mauritius to Egypt. Do join us again next week with the second part of our sit-down. Until then, it's goodbye.